Good morning, good morning, good morning. Imagine if I was able to show you what your pain, illness, injury, or disease was either trying to tell you or trying to protect you from. Pretty cool, hey? Good morning. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. My name is Carol Serby, and I am with the Omineca Healing Institutes, Northern British Columbia's premier institute for hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, neuro-linguistic programming. What else? We got energy healing, ceremony, workshops, and training. So thank you so much for joining us here today. We've got another episode here today for you that we're talking about following our map. And when I talk about our map, I talk about the body and the way it's trying to communicate with us. And we're starting to realize, there's a lot of researchers doing this work, that pain, illness, injury, and disease shows up in different parts of the body in order to give you a very specific message of what's going on, what you're avoiding, what you're thinking about, and how you're playing your game of life. So it's really, to me anyways, it's becoming a very, very, very fascinating thing. So what we're trying to do here at Omineca is we're really trying to revolutionize the way you listen to how your body is speaking to you, to really look at it from a different perspective. So today I wanted to talk to you about understanding the underlying messages in your illness. When we talk about illness, what a lot of the language, the lingo is going towards is that illness is basically a hologram. Now, I don't really understand holograms. I know it's a fractal portion of an existing thing. So they split light and they rebounce it and okay. Hologram. I understand that you can take one image and recreate it over there and recreate it over there. One image is real. The others are not. Okay. So what's happening is most all of our pain, illness, injury, and disease is as a result of trauma. It really is that simple. We can get into the genetics of it, DNA issues, stuff like that. That's a little bit broader scope than what I want to address here. Let's just talk kind of general, non-DNA, non-gene, non-ancestral stuff. Let's just talk, people get sick, okay? They get fibromyalgia, they get diabetes, they get cancer, they get IBS, whatever, okay, whatever. So the mainstream thinking on this is that we now have a trauma that's created. And what happens is the body, as a natural way to defend itself within the trauma, we have kind of the height, the pinnacle of the trauma. So trauma at 0 point, okay? And what happens is that trauma -1, so just that fractal of a second before the trauma hits the pinnacle, the peak, the maximum intensity, your body actually, as a way to deal with and move through, and we're in a process of overwhelm. So what we do is we actually create a hologram, create this fractal image of trauma point -1 or just the moment before, and we encapsulate it. And we store it for later until we can figure out how to deal with it, because you probably don't have the faculties or facilities to deal with it now. Now, let's talk a little bit about trauma. That trauma itself can be completely different for everybody. It has everything to do with you and your personality, and what's traumatic for one person isn't necessarily traumatic for another. The reasons we face trauma vary. You could be a war-torn country. You could become the martyr that decides that you're going to take this on so that the rest of your family doesn't. It's unlimited. It really is unlimited, and it's not fair to judge, because every person has a different traumatic reality. So we just look at trauma as trauma. It's something that affected you. It's something that you didn't know how to deal with in the moment. You didn't have the capacity, the wherewithal, the understanding, the scope, the tools to deal with it at the moment. So you took this fractaled memory of it and you encapsulated it. Now, some of my clients, they talk about when we're doing the hypnotherapy sessions, when we're doing the timeline therapy, when we're doing the neuro-linguistic programming, what they talk about is they talk about this memory as it starts to come up. It's like a shape. And that is really what happens. So we create, I always like to think of them as like the little Ziploc, the sandwich containers, but the containers, not the bags, right? With the blue lids, I always think of them as that. Some people, they come up as a golden triangle, or other people, they come up with a fire red circle, or but there always seems to be a geographic shape, a geometrical shape. So I'm curious. So any of you that when you're thinking about your pain, illness, injury, and disease that you're dealing with, how many of you see it as a shape? And it can be any shape, like, a rectangle, a star, a three-dimensional. How many of you see it as a shape? And then is there a color associated with it? And is there a temperature associated with it? So there's all these really cool things that when you really start to delve in and pay attention, you can start to see where you're holding your trauma. Now, of course, the other part of where you're holding your trauma comes in the actual body. So your pain, your illness, your injury, your disease, okay? So I have a worksheet for you, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of this feed at the end of the video. So I have a question. How many of you have pain, illness, injury, and disease and haven't named it yet? Haven't actually said, yes, I have this, or yes, this is affecting me? How many of you are trying to hide it, or you're talking around it, or, you just haven't come head to head with it, okay? You're trying to avoid it, okay? So first things first is you need to name it. You need to sit down and you have to say, I have yada yada. And I encourage you to go to your doctor. If you're not sure, don't name it before you know it. Go to your doctor. Get diagnosed. Okay? Because at least then you've acknowledged it. At least then you know what you're looking at and you know what you're dealing with. Okay? I know. That's probably the hardest part, is to just say, hey, I have a problem and it's this. Wow. Yeah. And the next question I have for you is, what is the physical aspect of the pain, illness, injury, or disease? Is there something in your body that's just not working, or not working efficiently? And describe the mechanics of it. And where does it hurt, and where do you feel it most? Now, the reason I want you to describe the mechanics of it is because every part of our body helps us do something. Helps us move forward, helps us with our balance, helps us with lifting, moving children, helps us step up, step down. Every part of our body does something for us. So what you need to do is the part of your body that's affected, what are the mechanics of that part of your body? Okay? So let's take bladder, for instance. Bladder is the part of your body where liquid moves through. Liquid, I'll just call it that. Okay, if your bladder's not working well and the liquid isn't moving through your body well because of bladder, on a more metaphysical level, liquid represents emotions. So you're not allowing your emotions to filter through. Now, if you have specific questions about specific, more metaphysical meanings, and you can get this from the mechanics of what happens, but it might be easier for you to just ask, what does the shoulders represent? What does the left side of the body represent? What does the jaw represent? What is, certain teeth correspond with certain discs or certain areas of the spine, right? So we have all of these maps. So if you're not sure, ask. By all means, put a question in the bottom and I'll answer it for you. No big deal. Really, seriously, no big deal. So when we get down to the mechanics of it, what does that thing do for your body? That thing that's affected, what does it do for your body? And see if you can take that to a more metaphysical level, okay? And what is it doing or not doing anymore, okay? And how do you feel about the pain, illness, injury, and disease? Does it make you feel like all of a sudden all these people are paying more attention to you and you're getting looked after? Or maybe it makes you feel mad. Or maybe it makes you feel like you have a screw loose. So you need to describe the emotions of it. What are you getting from it is what I'm getting at. Okay? And not lastly, but the last one I'm going to talk about here is if that pain, illness, injury, and disease wasn't in your way, what would be on the other side? What is it stopping you from doing that maybe you really want to do? Maybe you're afraid to do. What is it stopping you from doing? Or maybe it's your friend and it's stopping you from doing things that the way you've always done, and it's making you do things different. Maybe. So what is it stopping you from doing? Just ask some really interesting, insightful questions around your pain, illness, injury, and disease, and which is nothing more than a locked traumatic moment that's locked in the body. And again, we can get into the more metaphysical aspect of it. We can talk about generational trauma. We can talk about DNA trauma, genetic trauma. We can talk about all of that, but really, that's what it is. So what I specialize in is I specialize in unlocking this trauma. So I encourage you, if you have any questions about a specific area of your body, just put it in the feed below and I'll monitor the feed and we'll see what comes up, and we'll see how we can start to help people work through some of this stuff. So if you're looking for more energy healing techniques, more inspiration, or understanding how the body is speaking to you, sign up for our we do a once a month email at ominecahealing.ca, and basically it's just a summary email sending you to all sorts of different sources that we've done throughout the month. And if you would like an opportunity to work with us here at Omineca, I encourage you to sign up for a free 30-minute clarity call. Now, in this clarity call, we determine whether we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for the way that we work. So again, you can sign up for that at ominecahealing.ca, and the clarity call is free. It's 30 minutes long. And if you have any questions about where you're stuck, where you're struggling, where your blockages are, this would be a perfect time and a perfect place to bring those issues up, have that conversation. And of course, everything we talk about is confidential. And I'll offer any ideas that I have, and I'll point you in all the resources, all the free resources I have. I'll point you in those directions. And if I don't have something that I think can help, I'll point you in the direction of somebody else. That's just the way I work. I'm here to serve you. So, so our purpose here is to really support you in your courage, explore your clarity, and listening intuitively to what's going on in your body so you can live full throttle and you can really support others to live the same. So thank you so much for joining us here today at the Omineca Healing Institute, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.